take you guys through a little walk before I show you some progress on the worm garden. And then we'll go back to this because as you can see, things are a little, oh, and we'll show you progress on the mums too in this video. But it's just gonna be a quick walkthrough, show you the worms up here, show you everything I planted in a minute while you guys were away or while I was away for a little while, a couple days. But this is everything up here is looking good. We even have a volunteer tomato with, as you can see, some pretty big tomatoes. And then all these are growing in nicely. Everything up here is nice. So everything's coming together. I moved things around and I'll explain why I did that in a minute. And then we'll go check out these mums. So you guys seen a little bit of what I did up there. By the way, good evening, guys. Hope you're having a good night. You're watching Happy's Family Farm. This is going to be a quick update video on how the worms are doing, how the pumpkins are doing. Obviously, look at them. Since I pruned them, they've gotten even bigger. I'll show you a pumpkin real quick. I'm not going to do a whole garden walkthrough. We'll do that when we get Rachel in another couple videos. And I didn't do the strawberries yet. We're going to do that this weekend. I just been organizing everything, and I'll show you what I got planted up there and what I've been doing up there. We're not even going to go in the main garden in this. I'm just going to give you an update on these, the worms, and then show you what I added up into the top garden. And then we'll go through the whole garden once I get everything cleaned up, because I'll show you. We've gotten a lot of rain, 5.5 inches, no, 5 inches in 5 days. And we're supposed to, I'm moving around so much so the mosquitoes don't get me. We're supposed to get another, I think 2 or 3 inches in the next week, but we'll see. But the problem is that was all in a period of 5 days, and it was a heavy rain. So everything that's in the ground is looking good. The grass is starting to recover some, but the stuff in pots dries out the next day when we don't get these big storms. So I'll show you where I've been putting some of them. But let's look at these pumpkins real quick. So you guys remember when we cut these back, I came in here and cut all the vines off the back. As you can see them back there? I'm not going to get too much into there. I cut some of that away. My white pumpkins are back there. But I'm going to show you, these things have some pumpkins on them. At least one vine has some pumpkins. So this is all the way out here now. Look, you have 1, 2 pumpkins there. And I'm not sure. I might let a couple grow on each vine and then thin some out just to see what the difference is. But 1, 2, 3. There's all kinds of pumpkins on here. Here's the biggest one so far, guys. Down here, this guy. He's pretty big already. Oh, there's another one under it. We're going to have so many giant pumpkins. So that ended up good. I didn't lose any from pruning that. So let's go check on the worms now. So before we get into the worms, remember Rachel, she planted, I didn't water these today because we got rain last night. She planted all these mums. We got half of them in the ground. Some were done later than others. There's some still in trays down here that I need to get water on. We're going to get them back in smaller pots, but look at the progress on them. They're making these are the ones she did first. As you see, they're bigger ones. But look at this. We repotted this how many weeks ago? 2 weeks ago, guys. We have 6 more weeks, 8 more weeks before they flower. What is it? August, September, 8 more weeks. So these are going to be huge. And we're going to put them on to our clients, all the colors and what they want. But we have all these mums up here. So the mums are doing really good. We're really happy with the mums. We're just not happy we didn't get them all in pots yet. We still have to get the rest in pots, but we have at least 200, I think, in pots here. So that's a start. Let's now go over to these worms and see how they're doing. So I can't be out here too long because the mosquitoes are crazy. Let's actually take, this is the first bucket I did. And this is why they say you shouldn't do tomatoes, because there's tomatoes growing in everything around here. But I'm not worried about that. Tomatoes aren't going to make it, so we're going to pull these away. And look, right off the bat, guys, oh, we didn't see that when we cleaned them out last time. So this is the first bucket I did 2 weeks ago. Let's see if I need to add more food. Remember all the tomatoes I put in there? All them tomatoes. Wow. Them tomatoes are completely gone. Wow. Wow, they ate all them tomatoes in 2 weeks. So I need to load these buckets up again tomorrow, guys. But you've seen them in there. Let's dig down and see. There was worms at the top. Look, I can grab a handful of worms. I'm sorry I destroyed your habitat. Like a big monster coming in here. Oh yeah, look, see the They ate all that. So I'm gonna have to feed these more often, guys, obviously. And give it a little, look, see there's worms wiggling around. So, okay, I'm gonna feed these. That's an update on the worms. That's a really good sign if all the food that I put in there is gone, right? Now, let's go to the exciting part, what I've been doing. I haven't been recording when I've been doing this because I've been coming out at work until dark. In the rain, I've been doing it. I was out here in storms. But if you remember, we had everything in pallets in this garden, and I redid this part over here. Well, I decided instead of having it all sitting in buckets down in the garden and drying out every time, I decided to plant some of these plants that we're gonna take seeds off of and actually split going into next year and use them to make new plants. But I replanted a whole bunch of these pepper plants up here. Palmetto peppers are my favorite pepper now. I have to say, they have real thick lined walls. They're really, I'll have to cut one open when I pick another one. Now, some of these plants are a little droopy. You gotta remember, I pulled them out of, they were in buckets all the way up until this big. And some of the peppers are bad. We pull them ones off and we eat everything else. I've been eating a couple peppers a day now. And as you can see, every plant doesn't make it. But I've replanted all that. So we're gonna have cosmos up in the back. We're gonna have the black-eyed Susans. These are cone flowers. And then all these peppers should go all the way until freeze if I keep feeding them. So I redid that part. This tomato plant just grew here wild. As you can see, it's crazy. It doesn't have many fruits on it. Maybe some down in there. I'll have to pick for Rachel. The only thing I didn't get done is this planted here. I moved my Camille. It was getting too much sun. They don't like a lot of sun, so I moved it over there and it's doing a lot better. I have to plant, I'm gonna plant all coleus back in there and some stuff right in between here. I didn't really get that, and that's the progress on everything. Look at this basket, this grow bag Rachel planted here. This grow bag is just amazing. Look at it. We have cosmos in here, and now I know that cosmos overtake zinnias because there were zinnias in there, no more. But this grew here wild, and we're gonna keep this. This is a morning glory. Look how big it is. I am gonna run this morning glory all the way along here, bring it up through here, and I'm gonna wrap it around the banister. And this is like my little plant zone here. This is, even if we don't sell this, this is just amazing. I love it. I love it. Takes a lot of watering though, and this rain that we've been getting has helped tremendously. These were sunflowers that were down in the garden in pots that were just, they were literally just dying in the pots. They were droopy. All these cosmos were in little cells that we never planted up, like these poor little peppers never got planted. They're not gonna produce a pepper because it's too late in the season. Look at that pepper. Look at the color on that. Beautiful. So we got our money's worth as far as all the plants that we ended up buying or starting, because everything's looking amazing. So I did plant all them sunflowers back there that were in the garden. Every one of them did fine. The cosmos, the goal is to get all these to keep growing, the zinnias and cosmos. These are African daisies. I'm gonna try to get them to grow really big. I haven't gotten them able to grow too high yet. And I started bringing a lot of the stuff up here. We are going to, all these plants that are in these buckets here, we're going to see all the tomatoes growing in these these buckets that have worm compost in them. We are going to plant strawberries in all these buckets. All these buckets are getting strawberries that I filled up. I just haven't gotten to it, so I put these plants on it, so when I water it, everything gets moisture. And we're going to get the new strawberry plants from the runners, guys. See the roots on these? Stick them right in the dirt and they'll grow new strawberry plants. Same thing, if you have a plant phlox in a bucket, you can put it on top of a bucket like this. It'll grow roots, and then you pull it off at the end of the year. Next year, you have all new phlox plants in there. I found that out with my peach trees. All this, these were in buckets. I pulled the buckets out, and this all grew up. So that's the goal we're going for with here. All these pear trees will have phlox in them. What else did I do? I took all the blackberries out of here and lined them up here because they're about done. So I just want to make sure they get watered. This, I'm going to propagate a couple hundred ice plants. They're really easy to propagate. I'm going to propagate them to go into the winter and make them into little 4-inch plants or 1-gallon pots for next year. Everybody likes ice plants. I moved all this up here, cleaned all this out. And this is our little new area here. Obviously, my echinacea needs a lot of water. I pulled that. See, these were down in the garden there and down in the main garden. When we get rain, I tend not to water the pots as much as up here. Like tomorrow morning, I'll water all this when I wake up tomorrow morning before we leave for work. And they end up like this down in the garden. So I slowly have been bringing these plants up. And I told Rachel we'll take them back down when we're selling them down at the road. But we're concentrating a lot on these. It's been so hot and dry, people don't want plants. But we've been putting tomatoes out on the stand there with a lockbox, and people have been stopping by and getting the tomatoes. So we'll keep on doing that. Hopefully you like that quick little garden update. Everything's looking good over here. My goal is at the end of the season, when we get to maybe the end of September, all this is about that high. Everything, these zinnias up here, all this morning glory up here. So if you guys want to see if that happens, and we're going to keep going all the way down along the driveway and stuff with plants, so it's easier for me just to water all this stuff, because most of this stuff's in buckets and it's hard. That's why I started putting all these pepper plants. Oh, so up here, if you noticed, I didn't say I planted more. I took because I found out palmetto peppers or pimento peppers are my new favorite pepper. I pulled out all my pimento peppers that were down in the garden and brought them up here because they were in buckets and they were hurting because I wasn't getting to them. So I put them all on the ground so I can get a whole bunch more peppers. So a good sign would be is as we start to cool down here, that these will start putting on more flowers like they already have. And then we'll keep on growing peppers all the way through until it freezes. So guys, hopefully you like that quick little walkthrough sort of update on what I've been doing. Hopefully in the next video, you guys will see us do strawberries, or we'll do a complete walkthrough of the garden. We'll see what happens. But until then, guys, thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, be happy, or at least try. Have a good night, guys.